Farm supply stores are once again seeing an increase in demand for a product that's traditionally used to deworm horses. I'm Zach Dodge with Why, coming up.
The White House defends President Biden's decision to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, even as lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are asking what went wrong. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with more on the political fallout coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. Doctors are warning against using a horse dewormer as COVID treatment. Ivermectin, an anti-parasitic, has gained popularity as a potential treatment for COVID-19, but how people are getting it has doctors concerned. KOAM Zach Dodge has the details.
There's one particular product that Erin Woody just can't keep in stock.
I've gone from selling probably 4 to 5 tubes a week to upwards of 15 to 20.
Ivermectin, an anti-parasitic drug used in horses, is selling as fast as she can get it in. And it's not her normal customers, farmers and ranchers, who are buying it.
If they're not able to answer some of those basic questions on how many head of cattle do you have, what size of cattle are you using it on, I get a gut feeling instantly that they're using it for off-label reasons.
The drug is trending on Facebook and has gained popularity as a possible treatment for COVID-19.
It's actually a frequent question we get asked.
Dr. Farin Marion at Mercy Hospital in St. Louis explains there are actually 2 versions of the drug. The pill version for humans is FDA approved for certain conditions, but not for COVID-19, with the FDA saying they have not reviewed data to support the use of ivermectin in COVID patients.
The reason for that, again, is that the solid science that we base strong recommendations on is just not there right now.
There are clinical trials underway in other countries for the human version, which can only be obtained with a prescription. What has doctors really concerned, though, is people using the version that's sold for livestock, with the FDA and doctors saying it's dangerous because of the large dosage that's used in animals.
It is a nerve active agent, which means that it actually works on parasites by paralyzing their muscles. So it is in very large doses, it can be potentially neurotoxic.
And now several stores say prices are more than double and the product is out of stock.
We're currently out right now.
There's been an increased demand on it.
Yes, there has been an increase in demand,
making it harder for farmers to get what they need.
It drops my sales with my cattle producers when I can't get it in stock because they can't come here and purchase it directly, or they have to order such a large quantity that they'll never use it in 5 years.
In Jasper County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Again, doctors recommend against using ivermectin as a treatment without a prescription at this time. FDA has approved the antiviral drug remdesivir for adults and certain young patients who are hospitalized. The agency has also issued authorization for monoclonal antibodies to be used to treat COVID-19 patients at high risk of needing hospitalization. That brings us to tonight's KOAM News Now Insta poll question. Tonight we're asking, would you take off-label medicine for COVID-19 without a doctor's recommendation? You can check out some results so far. You can participate in the poll. Please do over at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, or as always through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live and we'll check in on them here in a bit. Joplin Health Department is reporting 2 more deaths health officials attribute to COVID-19. The patients were 2 males, ages 60 and 87. This brings Joplin's total to 155. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now. Some showers again today, Nick.
Yeah, trying to keep some spots cool at least, Jordan, but for some, if we didn't see a whole lot of activity during the day, it was almost kind of a hot day. 72 to start, so definitely a mild start this morning. Joplin was actually one of those spots that did hit 90 degrees this afternoon. We're starting to see any scattered showers and storms out there start to decrease in coverage a little bit. Certainly an improvement compared to the more scattered storms we had earlier this afternoon. But it's all due to this upper low sitting across northern parts of Missouri. Right now, though, it's keeping temperatures mainly in the mid to upper 70s. I see us going down to 70 tonight, Jordan, but that upper low. It's going to try to bring a shower or 2 overnight, but better rain chances again tomorrow. We'll track that and the rest of the forecast here in a bit.
Nick, thank you. As the school year starts, KOAM is listening to your questions and getting answers from local education and health experts. We invite you to submit your questions for schools at KOAMnewsnow/back to school. It's an online one-stop resource for school information. U.S. Congressman Billy Long was in Joplin today to talk health care with leaders at Freeman Hospital. The congressman visited the Ozark Center to discuss the need for medical residency programs in rural areas like the 4 states.
That's the big benefit to the healthcare community, is that we can get enough people in the field to help with everyone that needs all the, the mental health issues. And I know that our senators have worked tirelessly on mental health issues in the state of Missouri.
Congressman Long is running for U.S. Senate. He's looking to replace outgoing Republican Senator Roy Blunt in a race that's currently involving former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens. In Afghanistan, U.S. troops are on the ground, assisting with the evacuation of thousands of U.S. and Afghan citizens. A spokesperson for the Taliban is also speaking about what the group plans to do in the near future once the withdrawal of troops is complete. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst has these details.
After taking control of Afghanistan, the Taliban is showing the world it's in charge, declaring amnesty across the country, vowing to respect women's rights, and encouraging them to work with the government. All that remains to be seen, and now a spokesperson is calling on world leaders to help pay for reconstruction.
They should respect the aspiration and will of the people of Afghanistan.
But there are signs of brutality in the streets. Cell phone video showing an alleged Taliban fighter punching someone. An Afghan who worked as a State Department contractor told Fox News the Taliban have established checkpoints throughout the capital city. And the Pentagon admits they're working with the Taliban to ensure operations at the airport remain safe.
There have been discussions, there is communication between them and us, and I would just let the results speak for themselves.
On Monday, U.S. troops managed to evacuate more than 700 people, including 150 Americans. Hundreds of Afghans packed inside a C-17, desperate to get out. U.S. officials believe once the speed of evacuations picks up, they'll be able to get 5,000 to 9,000 people out per day.
This is a dynamic, it's a fluid security environment. If we're in a position to do more, I can guarantee you we will do as much as we can.
As rescue flights continue, officials believe 3 U.S. military bases will be used to house up to 22,000 people in the coming days. In Jerusalem, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
The fall of Afghanistan has the White House doing damage control as critics from both parties debate President Biden's decision to withdraw troops. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in D.C. with more on the political fallout.
On Capitol Hill, Afghanistan's fall to Taliban rule has lawmakers calling for answers. The chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee pledged to hold hearings to investigate what went wrong, saying, quote, "This is not a Democratic or a Republican problem. These failures have been manifesting over 4 presidential administrations of both political parties."
I've been trying to tell our government for years that this was coming. We sent them plan after plan on how to evacuate these people. Nobody listened to us.
Republicans blame President Biden, saying the chaotic scenes and hasty evacuations could have been avoided with better planning to withdraw U.S. troops. The chair of the Senate GOP campaign arm on Twitter raised the prospect of using the 25th Amendment to remove President Biden from office, questioning if the president was, quote, capable of discharging the duties of his office.
This administration looks to me like it couldn't organize a 2-car funeral.
Meantime, the White House held its first news briefing since Kabul's fall.
Yes, there were chaotic scenes yesterday, but as Admiral Kirby said, even well-drawn plans don't survive first contact with reality, and they require adjustments, and we've made those adjustments.
Given the Taliban was able to take over the country more quickly than the president expected, the White House says it will do a hot wash once evacuations are completed to review what could have been done differently. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Americans could soon be lining up for a third COVID-19 shot. The White House COVID response team is going to meet tomorrow to discuss the possibility of booster shots as the Delta variant spreads. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more.
Another COVID-19 shot is likely on the way for millions of Americans. The Biden administration is expected to recommend booster doses for most vaccinated people 8 months after their second shot. Nursing home residents and healthcare workers are likely to be first in line, but the shots would not be widely distributed until the FDA formally approves COVID-19 vaccine boosters. Last week, health officials recommended boosters for some people with weakened immune systems.
If you're receiving medicines that hold your immune system down, then you're not going to get the benefit from those vaccines, or it's just not going to last as long.
State and local leaders are still in a race to get people vaccinated as the Delta variant spreads. In New York City, an indoor COVID vaccine mandate started today for entertainment venues, gyms, and restaurants. Mayor Bill de Blasio says people will have to show proof they've received at least one vaccine dose.
This is a way we all keep moving forward together. This is a way we stay healthy. This is a way we bring back our city fully.
Meanwhile, states with low vaccination rates are seeing a spike in infections among children. Last week, children accounted for about 18% of new cases nationwide, and health experts fear the surge could worsen as a new school year begins.
I am extremely fearful of what's to come. The way to keep kids safe is through vaccination, and the kids that are eligible for vaccinated should get vaccinated.
Public health officials say children are still less likely to develop severe symptoms from COVID-19. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another four-state hero. Keaton McAllister served in the U.S. Army from 1945 to 47, stationed in Tokyo. We are proud to thank instantly Private Keaton McAllister, a native of Baxter Springs, Kansas. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick Kelly's up next with a complete look at the forecast a bit later. Columbus Titans aiming to stay rolling this fall with a talented group of seniors. Going to hear from the team in sports.
We had quite a warm day, and a bit of a hot one for a few spots that did not see much in the way of scattered showers or thunderstorms either this morning or in the afternoon hours. For example, indigo sky looking like one of the dry spots for this Tuesday, but still an interesting time lapse thanks to Indigo Sky Casino Resort looking outside of Seneca, Missouri. As far as temperatures go, we kept pretty warm yesterday with highs in the upper 80s, right around 88 degrees. But we started at 72 this morning in Joplin Airport. The Joplin Regional Airport looked as though it topped out around 89 degrees, but we actually hit 90 degrees before the afternoon was all said and done. And again, that was quite a warm up despite the scattered storms we saw really as the afternoon got going. But even at the strongest, we didn't really see a whole lot really in terms of strong or severe thunderstorms. That being said, if you got caught underneath one of these good downpours, you saw rain amounts range anywhere from half an inch to almost 2 inches of rain, especially on the Kansas side. But for other areas, you probably didn't get a drop of rain for today, but still more rain chances to contend with before we really dry out going deep into this weekend. As far as where we stand right now, though, maybe a couple showers out there, so we're seeing a bit of a lull in our setup, especially around the Joplin area where we look okay right now at 9:15. 77 in Joplin, feels like 79 with those dew points still up there in the upper 60s. As far as the rest of the area, very similar to Joplin. Most of us in the mid to upper 70s with the dew points making it feel like we're close to 80, but we will drop back near 70 tonight while we do get a bit of a lull in the rain chances while more prevalent rain remains across southern Oklahoma and Arkansas. I don't have a lot to show you on the surface map other than the remnants of Fred, tropical storm or tropical depression Fred, working along the Appalachian Mountains. Our next front, that's still coming into play by Friday and Saturday. In the short term, though, it's this upper low sitting just to the north of the region. That's what's going to keep skies partly to mostly cloudy overnight. And I honestly, like this morning, can't rule out a couple of showers or a few storms during the early morning hours as we drop back near 70. But like the past couple of days, I think our better shot for storms will be during the afternoon. And like the past couple of days, not really expecting much, if any, of these storms turning severe. 69 in the morning, 82 by noon. Highs will top out around 86 degrees. We'll get a bit of a break in the action late Wednesday night into Thursday morning, but then the upper low before it departs, we're going to see a more scattered chance for showers and thunderstorms as highs once again remain right around 87 degrees. So when you take tomorrow's rain chances into account and even Thursday's rain chances, Some of you may not see a drop of rain, but others could see anywhere from 1/10 of an inch on the low end to a couple spots pushing over 1 inch or 2 inches of rain. If there's a good thing to the rain chances, it keeps most of us out of the heat. I'm thinking 86 tomorrow, 87 Thursday, 89 on Friday. But as soon as we clear the rain chances out by Saturday morning, Jordan, it gets hot and sticky again. 90 on Saturday, 91 Sunday, and mid-90s early next week.
It's nice to get some rain. We need it.
Yeah, we need it. Just hopefully it evaporates before we really heat up, or else it's going to feel nasty.
Yeah, and it does. All right, Nikili, thank you. Speaking of rain, too much rain here. Coming up, Fred causing problems.
Storm Fred will bring heavy rainfall and the possibility of tornadoes in the southeast after making landfall in Florida. I'm Alex Hogan in New York. I'll have details on this story coming up.
Storm Fred is expected to unleash heavy rainfall and gusty winds across a large part of the southeast. Fox News correspondent Alex Hogan has more from New York.
Tropical Storm Fred made landfall on Monday in the Florida Panhandle, bringing heavy rainfall and high surf to parts of the Sunshine State. The storm has weakened since then, but the threat for tornadoes remains for parts of Georgia and the Carolinas. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says the state emergency personnel are standing by to assist residents affected by the storm.
We are working with them, and that's an area of the state, as many of you know, that got hit by Hurricane Michael a few years ago, did extensive damage. While this is not a Michael-type storm in terms of wind, that part of Florida, and actually many parts of Florida, have been getting a lot of rain, so there's a lot of saturation.
Residents of the Florida Keys are cleaning up after Fred passed just west of the island chain. The storm unleashing wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour, but the area was spared from the worst effects.
I've lived here 44 years, so this was a small one. I'm more worried about the next one.
Gotcha. Did you guys prepare at all with this one? For Fred?
This one, no. Moved us a few things downstairs.
Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Grace leaving its mark in parts of the Caribbean. Mudslides and flash flooding have been reported in Jamaica, western Cuba, and in Haiti. This comes as Haitians reel from a devastating 7.2 magnitude earthquake that jolted the nation over the weekend. Storm Fred will weaken, but could bring several inches of rain to the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast later this week. Grace, on the other hand, is expected to strengthen into a hurricane before making landfall along the Yucatan Peninsula. In New York, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Next, more tips on going back to school prepared without breaking that budget.
This back-to-school shopping season is breaking records. I'm Jackie Ibanez with a look at how much money Americans are shelling out, plus tips on how you can help young kids readjust to being back in the classroom. Straight ahead.
Back to school shopping could break your bank account. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez has more on how much money experts are predicting Americans are going to spend this season and how to potentially avoid paying more than you have to.
If you're getting ready to do some back-to-school shopping, buyer beware, it'll cost you. The National Retail Federation says the average household will spend roughly $850 on supplies this year alone. But it doesn't mean folks are getting more bang for their buck.
An American family's purchasing power has shrunk. So right now prices are rising twice as fast as paychecks.
Rising inflation is having a serious impact on the price of many goods.
This has become the number one worry of families, but of small Main Street businesses as well.
And while Americans are expected to spend a collected $37 billion this school season, researchers say laptops, clothes, and shoes are the big hot ticket items. But with the pandemic impacting manufacturing centers, certain goods may be in limited supply. Experts say if you turn to online shopping, watch out for price gouging.
This is where the scammers are finding the opportunity. How can I make the most money off of this situation where people are at a disadvantage?
Meanwhile, psychologists say be on the lookout for signs your child may be exhibiting symptoms of anxiety, adding it could be difficult for young kids to readjust to in-person classes after learning remotely for so long.
These kids have not been around other kids. You know, it's almost like when a new child goes to daycare for the first time.
And when getting kids reacclimated to crowds, experts say start small by going to a restaurant or perhaps taking them back to school shopping with you. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Coming up, you thought you knew the definition of delicious, or dessert for that matter, then came along this creation. More on the cinnamon roll inside a cookie. Yeah, when we come back. Take a bite out of Cinnabon's newest treat, Cinnabon's iconic Bon Bites are back. Look at those. They're like angels. The snack takes a fun spin on the company's famous cinnamon rolls by baking them inside of another classic dessert, chocolate chip cookies. My gosh, amazing. Bon Bites are returning to Cinnabon locations for the first time since 2019, but don't fret, the sugar overloaded goodie is expected to stay on the menu through November. You know that emoji? I don't know if it's on Android phones, but on the iPhones, that emoji of the guy just drilling. That's me. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
As COVID cases continue to increase across the area, so does the wait time at local emergency rooms. I'm Chris Warner with what officials at Mercy Joplin are seeing.
We're also going to hear how a local organization that helps young women in need is getting some extra resources. COVID numbers within the city of Joplin are down, but they're still up across the region, putting a strain on Joplin hospitals. And that's leading to an increased wait time at the emergency room. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with Mercy Joplin about what they're seeing.
Wait times at ERs are never fun, and when you're not feeling well, they seem to last forever. However, due to the increase in regional COVID cases, that's led to a noticeable increase in local ER wait times.
2 years ago, our wait times were under 20 minutes, and that's the average, coming in the ER. In the last 6 months, we're 65 minutes or longer. So that's more than tripling your wait times in the ER.
Rhonda Schmidt-O'Toole is the Director of Emergency Services for Mercy Joplin. She says wait times to get into a room in the ER aren't the only increase. If you need to be admitted to the hospital, expect to wait longer.
It used to be you got admitted, we had a bed open upstairs, and we sent you upstairs. Now the average wait time for my patients waiting for beds is about 250 to 300 minutes. So that's about 3 or 4 hours that we're waiting for a bed upstairs. And like I said, sometimes that goes much longer into 12, 16 hours.
Schmidt-O'Toole says they've made a few changes to procedures in the ER to help speed things up a bit.
We've started processes of drawing labs and doing x-rays and things like that while people are in triage waiting to get into a room, trying to at least get the treatment started. And so then expediting that care once they get to the room.
While a wait of any kind can be frustrating, Schmidt-O'Toole says, be patient.
I know people are frustrated. It is not our desire to make anyone wait. They're not waiting because we're not working hard or we don't want to see them. And the reality is if you feel you have a need to come to the emergency room, we want you here. We want to be able to evaluate you and make sure that you're safe to go home if you can, or get you the treatment that you need.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Officials with Mercy, McHugh, Brooks, and Carthage say they've also seen a significant increase in their wait times. The 100 Women Who Care organization representing Jasper and Newton counties presented a donation to the Love and Grace organization. Love and Grace helps young mothers and their children with transitional housing, an important place. A check of more than $3,000 will be used to buy beds.
It will be a time that they remember getting back up on their feet and making contributions back to everybody else in life. And what a wonderful way to support women.
Many of the young women in Love and Grace have aged out of the foster care system, are homeless, or have limited support systems. Weather is great this morning for Pitt State's Community Fair. The event is for new and returning students, helping them learn more about the community. Different vendors from the area set up booths on the oval.
But also maybe some more knowledge about what's available in our area. I think sometimes when they first get to Pittsburgh, they maybe are familiar with things that they've seen as they drive down Broadway, but maybe they haven't had the opportunity to stop into.
Last year's PSU Community Fair was canceled, so organizers say this year's event was all the more fun. Another blow for Haiti as Tropical Storm Grace complicates recovery efforts following a devastating earthquake. Fox's Anna Aliopoulos has the latest.
Haitians left homeless after a 7.2 magnitude earthquake rocked the country, now facing the effects of Tropical Storm Grace. Families forced to take shelter in makeshift tents, attempting to take cover from the heavy rains and winds. Flooding from the storm is complicating search and rescue efforts as crews continue to comb through mounds of debris. More than 10,000 buildings were damaged or destroyed, including several major hospitals, leaving those that are still standing overwhelmed.
Right now, we're continuing to operate. We'll continue to operate and remain as flexible as possible.
More than 1,400 people are confirmed dead, with at least 6,000 more injured. Many of those injuries requiring patients to be evacuated to more specialized facilities.
We're talking about orthopedic patients and surgical trauma patients. So they had to be addressed urgently.
This disaster coming just over a month after the country's president was assassinated, and 11 years after another earthquake claimed the lives of more than 200,000 people. Meanwhile, violent gangs in the country have had roadblocks set up for months in the hardest hit areas, making the delivery of aid more difficult.
We are really advocating for armed groups to allow this humanitarian aid to reach the people as soon as possible.
In addition to ongoing assistance from the U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. also announcing Tuesday that they will be sending a joint task force to Haiti to assist with humanitarian efforts. Anna Eliopoulos, Fox News.
Take a final look at tonight's Instapoll question. We asked, would you take off-label medicine for COVID-19 without a doctor's recommendation? A few more of you voted yes. 15% of you, as it stands right now, are voting for yes, I would. 85% of you say no. Thanks everyone for voting. A bit later, creative ways to combat climate change.
Experts say the climate crisis is getting worse. I'm Kevin Cork in Washington with more on the severe drought conditions burdening the West here in the U.S., plus what one man is doing to reduce global warming by using his sheep. That's just ahead.
We enjoyed, well, if you want to, another quite warm day, and hopefully some of you got to enjoy the scattered showers and thunderstorms that tried to give us a little bit of a break from the warmth that we saw once again today. Indigo sky, however, outside of Seneca, Missouri, one of the dry spots for today, but still an interesting time lapse showing quite a bit of cloud cover coming and going across the camera side just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Believe it or not, this morning we did actually have a little cluster of thunderstorms pop up on the Kansas side. Then we had our typical, more scattered variety of showers and storms this afternoon. All in all, some of you didn't see a drop of rain for today, but on the average area-wide, 0.2 of an inch. Heavier pockets of rain, though, leading to some spots picking up anywhere from 0.5 inch to almost 2 inches of rain just today alone. And we have seen a bit of a drop-off in our activity as far as rain or thunderstorms go on the radar network over the past few hours. Just still seeing a couple areas of rain, maybe a couple showers south of Independence and right on top of Bonita as you work across the turnpike in northeastern Oklahoma. Well, I would not be surprised, though, if we try to see a few more showers overnight, but we're going to have to do this all over again for tomorrow. In the meantime, though, we're looking okay from Joplin. Quiet skies up top, still warm, though, 77. Thanks to a dew point of 68, though, even with the southeast breeze outside, it feels like 79 degrees in Joplin. Much of the area is faring the same way. Maybe 72 on the milder end of Nevada to about 77 in Columbus, Parsons, Chanute, and even down into Miami. But we are going to drop back near 70, 69, 70 degrees as we go through the overnight. And again, at the very least, starting the late night out, seeing a bit of a lull in our rain chances. That being said, not seeing a lot affecting us at the surface right now. There is a front to the north. That's still poised to keep some rain chances around for Friday and at least a part of our Saturday. In the short term, though, this is our main weather driver. And our dip in the jet stream, this upper level low north of the region, that is what's going to try to, well, certainly will at least keep partly to mostly cloudy skies in place. But you can see as we get closer to the morning drive, I wouldn't be surprised if we had another stray shower, storm or two pop up as our day gets going. But like the past couple days, once we hit the afternoon, I think that is when we're going to see another good scattering of rain and thunderstorms during the afternoon. Let's go 69 in the morning, 82 by noon. I still think, though, we can get a warm afternoon out of the way with highs near 86 degrees. But the rain chances, they'll just repeat themselves again for Thursday. So just for the next 2 days alone, some spots may struggle to see a drop of rain while others could see as much as an inch or almost 2 inches of rain. Then we got to talk about the long-range forecast, because even though we will see that front north and west of the region keep some rain chances around for Friday into Saturday morning, look at what happens Saturday into early next week. This upper level high, that is a familiar sight, and we know what that can do with temperatures around here, and sure enough, that's what's in the cards on the 7-day. 86 tomorrow, 87 Thursday, near 90 Friday and Saturday, but then we're back into the mid-90s by early next week, Jordan.
Okay for now, though, anyway.
Yeah, at least.
Hey, Kelly, thank you. Coming up in sports, the Riverton Rams hitting the field for their first week of football practice. Also, the Columbus Titans aiming to stay rolling in their third season under head coach Blake Burns. Jacob Leonard has a story next.
The Columbus Titans are in their first week of football practice. The Titans have been on a roll the last 2 years, but after a quick exit from the playoffs, the team is excited to get back to work and make it right this fall.
The Columbus Titans are 16-3 the last 2 years and still have a chip on their shoulder.
Our kids are really still hungry. The season didn't end like we wanted it to last year. Had a great beginning, won a district title for the first time in several years, but we're still hungry for more.
The 2020 season came to a disappointing end, with the undefeated Titans falling to Girard in the first round of the playoffs.
I didn't stop thinking about that loss, for probably 2 weeks after. It hurt, but it was good for us, in the long run.
That last game is going to haunt me for a while. I'm going to use it as motivation and just get better and better throughout the year.
We talked about, learn from this mistake. We failed, and we just have to know that we've got to do some things different to get better, and it's really kind of drove us to have a different mindset.
This year's team is loaded with talent. Offensively, Columbus is led by returning starting quarterback Jackson Harity and running back Gabe Martin, who rushed for 1,200 yards and 17 touchdowns last year.
We're going to run the ball. I can move it well on my legs, and you know what Gabe can do. Everybody knows that. And then our line, there's some dogs. They can move some bodies around, but we can still get it done through the air. We got guys like Cole and Midget. They can catch any ball you throw up to them. I got a lot of trust in them when I throw it.
Our offensive identity is always going to be on our offensive line first. They're the first guys to the party all the time. But we've got to, establish the run game. Jackson's done a fantastic job leading our offense, and we're just going to go as our offensive line goes.
On defense, the team returns its leading tackler and linebacker Trent Smith and defensive lineman Cody Schock. Both were first-team All-CNC selections last season.
We're really confident on defense. That's what we really stand out in, because it's a mentality of all gas, no brakes. That's what we have on defense. So I'm really proud of everyone up front and everyone behind us, behind me and the 3 men up front, to just work harder and harder and show everyone what we can do.
The Titans' first game of the season is on September 3rd on the road against Frontenac. Well, today's also day 2 of practice for the Riverton Rams. Riverton has found some momentum, winning 10 games the last 2 years after winning just 5 games the previous 3 years combined. Now, the Rams have some experience back this year, including starting quarterback Walker Terry and All-State selection Derek Larison at tailback and linebacker. Now, Larison says this group of guys have been playing together for a long time, and they're hoping that chemistry pays off this fall.
I've been playing with some of these guys my entire life since 4th grade. I love them to death, and we're a small little town. We've been around for each other. We've been beside each other in every single class. We have bonds that's just different than a bigger school. It's just a little different than what a big school with 60 people in your class. We have 10 people in our class sometimes. I know every single name. We're around each other 24/7.
Riverton opens up the season at home against Baxter Springs on September 3rd. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Scientists say the clock is ticking as time to save the planet from irreversible damage caused by climate change is running out. And as federal officials here in the United States are taking desperate measures to combat severe drought out west, other folks are tackling global warming in some very unique ways. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork reports.
The latest UN climate report says the planet is getting too hot too fast. And new data from NOAA confirms this, with researchers saying last month was the hottest July ever recorded.
There's no doubt that climate change is real. We're experiencing it every day.
No place is feeling the heat quite like the southwest U.S., where historic drought conditions are drying up major reservoirs, prompting the federal government to slash water designated for farmers in Arizona and Nevada.
We must adapt
to the new reality of a warmer, drier future.
Meanwhile, as the climate crisis worsens, activists around the globe are done waiting for their leaders to enact policy changes. Folks like Lucas Janssens are taking matters into their own hands. The 24-year-old from Belgium became a shepherd and uses his sheep instead of gas-guzzling landscaping machines to mow properties across his town.
If you would use mowers, cranes, or threshers, you would have enormous emissions.
Janssens' flock of more than 200 sheep help provide a much-needed service without releasing carbon dioxide, which, as you probably know, contributes to global warming. It's a small act, admittedly, but this shepherd knows his work has the potential to inspire global change. And that global change could be coming soon. The U.S. is expected to take part in the UN Climate Summit this November, where nations from around the globe will assess, then address their environmental impacts. In Washington, I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Going to catch up with Hugh Jackman about his new movie and how it resonates in mental health awareness. Hugh Jackman leads the twists and turns of the new thriller Reminiscence. We spoke with the star about his new film, memories of his own he reminisces about, and the fun of feuding with Ryan Reynolds. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Where is she? Where is she?
Hugh Jackman leads the new sci-fi action thriller Reminiscence.
It just went to places I never expected, and I love that for the audience.
Jackman stars as an investigator accessing lost memories, whose life is changed when a new client has him diving into his own.
No, put me back.
The actor spoke about how the film in ways resonates with mental health awareness, especially right now, with its themes of finding happy memories, but also living in the present.
It's very easy to think, oh, if I could just live in the past before all these worries, back in the day when everything felt normal or whatever it was, you know, the movie sort of cautions against that and reminded that no matter how hard life is, and certainly it is very difficult right now, many people, that you have to be constantly creating memories. And you can only do that by being present.
He shares memories which always bring him joy are about family.
I was one of 5 kids, going back to some of those moments, to the birth of my kids, to getting married, to falling in love. We were planning for the future.
And as he releases his new movie, it just so happens Ryan Reynolds has a new film out too. So, yes, the fun, friendly feud continues.
It should be an Olympic sport, trolling Ryan Reynolds, right? And I'm pretty sure I'll be up there for the gold. Australia got the Olympics for 2032, so I've got 12 years to get that in there. All you have to do is follow my voice.
Reminiscence is in theaters and HBO Max August 20th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a newborn orangutan at a zoo in Spain. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.